Hello everyone, this is Julia from Craft Room Adventures. Thank you so much for joining me today. This time I made a card using the Fairy Garden stamp set by Hello Bluebird. It's just so gorgeous and I had to use it on a card. I stamped out all of my images using Versafine Onyx black ink onto Strathmore Bristol smooth cardstock, and I die cut all of the images using my brother's scan and pad. Now, as you can see, there are quite a few more images than you saw in the pictures, and I wasn't quite sure what kind of scene I wanted to make. So I just stamped out all of them, decided to color them, and basically figure it out later. I'm using the Zig marker in 71 for my skin tone, and I will also be adding some rosy cheeks with Pink Haze number 201. I'm adding a little bit of a blue tint to the wings of my fairies, and then I'm adding the Nuvo Crystal Gloss, I think it's called, to the wings of the fairies to add some shine. Unfortunately, you can barely tell that there's anything on there in the video, but in real life it's a very, very pretty shine. The color for the wings I'm using is Blue Haze from the Zig markers. Now for the hair of two of my fairies, I'm using 137. And for the fairy in the middle, I'm using 178. This is the one where I'm using 178 for the hair. And now I'm just going to add a second layer to deepen up the color. Again, using 137. And for this one as well. Now I'm going a bit back in with 178. Now I need to color the dresses of my fairies. And for the first one, I'm using 124 Apricot. For this one as well. And for the one in the middle, I'm using Honey. Also adding a second layer of both colors here. Now I'm starting to color in the little ladybug using tomato red and ash black. Those are 194 and 172 from the Arteza markers. Now I'm coloring in the flowers, and I'm using pen green and crocodile green for the stems and the leaves. And for the flowers themselves, I will be using apricot. All of them are by Arteza. I'm just blending everything out with my water brush. Doing the same thing on the other side. I think the pen green is just a little bit brighter, more blue toned, and the crocodile green is like a yellow muted color, and they work really well together when they're blended together. Now I'm coloring in the flowers, and I'm using the color apricot for that. That's number 124. Same on the other side, 124 apricot. I did cut out the coloring of the rest of the images, so don't be surprised that some of the images are already colored up top, because I knew that for this video they wouldn't end up on the card. I die cut a grassy border using the Grassy Knoll die by Hello Bluebird, and I'm ink blending that one with Shabby shutters and peeled paint distress ink. This is also Bristol smooth paper. I didn't exactly know how high I needed it to go up, so I just left it pretty high, and I will trim it off later. I also die cut another panel of Bristol smooth cardstock using the Cloud 9 frame by Mama Elephant to get this wonky stitch line, which I think is really, really pretty. And I'm ink blending that one with Tattered Rose and Abandoned Coral Distress ink. I'm just ink blending the colors lightly. I didn't want it to be too intense. And here you can see the layout of my card. I have placed all of my images loosely on the card to see where my sentiment needed to go. I'm using the Thank You Very Much sentiment from the stamp set, which I think is super cute. And I'm prepping the panel with some powder tool to make sure that my embossing powder doesn't stick where it shouldn't. And I'm using the Metallic Platinum embossing powder by Wow. I stamped this with Versamark ink, and now I'm just sprinkling my metallic platinum embossing powder on top of it. I'm using a paintbrush to remove any stray embossing powder flecks, and my heat tool was already heating up, and now I'm just heating it up until it's all smooth and melted. I'm adding foam tape to the back of my grassy panel, and I also already cut it off screen to the size it needed to be. Now I'm just using some tape runner and adhering my panel to an A2 sized card base. There was some excess that I needed to trim off, which I just did off screen. And now I'm placing down my grassy border. There we go. Now it's time to place all of my images. I'm just removing the background of the foam tape and placing them down on my scene. I use the sentiment as kind of a guide on where to place everything. I'm adding my little fairy on top of this one. And I'm placing that down, but I realized that I wanted it to be higher up, so I'm further down, sorry. So I'm just pulling that a little bit. No, I did want it higher up, didn't I? Of course I pressed it down. So I'm just trying to not rip it and pull it back up because the upper part of the right side was just really, really empty. So I'm just adhering it up quite a bit higher. There we go, I like that much better. Now I'm adding my second fairy in the middle and also the adorable little ladybug. And yeah, I still thought that it could use a little bit of extra something. So I've decided to, for the first time actually ever, use some Nuvo drops. I used the jewel drops in the color Rosewater because I thought it would match the background really well. And I'm just placing them down. I had a little trouble getting them like really rounded. There was still like some sort of a tip showing, but it did smooth out a bit while it was drying. If I'm honest, I did like it better before, but oh well. At least I tried something new, right? Just cleaning off a bit of the Nuvo drops that went astray. And yeah, that finishes off my card for today. Now I'm just removing everything from the scene. I really hope you like this one. I think the fairies are so much fun. I would love it if you would consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys!